there, folks. Are you passionate about democracy and concerned about the rise of authoritarianism? I'm Joanne, Kevin's wife, and I've seen him give everything to this work. That's why Coffee with Democrats matters, lifting up stories, building connections, and keeping democracy strong. So tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for 30 minutes of conversation with elected officials, candidates, and Democratic influencers, only on Coffee with Democrats. So join me in welcoming the Executive Director and host of Coffee with Democrats, my husband, Kevin Dawson.
Well, welcome to Coffee with Democrats. We have got a special guest. Hey, this is a very good friend of mine, too, that's coming on, Brandon Wade. We've known each other for several years. Let me bring you up here to the stage. Hey, welcome to Coffee with Democrats. I should say welcome back to Coffee with Democrats, Brandon. It's been a little while, but you have been on here before, and it's great to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's great to be with friends, and can't think of a better time to get back together and try to draw attention to what's going on in our world today.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a heck of a thing. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. You're running for, you're running again for House District CD2, which is basically I'm going to let you explain. Where is CD2 at here in Oklahoma?
Well, it starts Washington County, runs east across the Kansas line, all the way down the eastern border of Oklahoma to the Texas line. I think it's 26 counties in whole or part. It's a large area, a lot of area to cover. Beautiful country, but a lot of driving, a lot of area.
Right, and you've been doing this. This will be your second or third time running?
Yeah, time altogether for this seat. First time into the U.S. Senate race, that was definitely an opener and a learning experience for me.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I want to. I'm not sure if everybody is seeing this the same thing that I'm seeing. You are breaking up just a little bit. I don't know if you're on a cell phone or not, but I'm going to press forward and hope that we can continue to move forward with this. If it gets to be too bad, we'll stop and we'll do a reset. But we've still got plenty of time. So, Brandon, we've been going through a lot of stuff. We had some really, really good news this week out of Oklahoma. We got to talk about the good, and then we've got to talk about the bad. So let's start with the bad. Talk just a little bit about some of this nonsense that you're hearing, that you want to talk about, that is going on in Oklahoma and throughout the United States.
Well, really what we've been seeing is, going on is the militarization of our National Guard. The president has just total disregard, which is not a surprise to a lot of us, is disregard for what the law and the judicial branch is saying. Has no reasoning or just cause for what he's doing. He's just going to go do it anyway because he said so. Sending our military and our National Guard into cities is unacceptable. And the way we're going about this whole roundup of illegal citizens in our country or immigrants in our country is not the American way. I just can't say enough of how our country was founded and made up of immigration, and then now we're rounding people up in an inhumane way, and it was under the pretense of going after, violent criminals and those things, and that's not what we're seeing going on. Right.
It's a tragedy. We just had people from Texas National Guard showing up in Chicago. I'm strictly opposed to that. I'm very familiar and used to live in Illinois and work out of Chicago, and I think it's a travesty. We got a lot of friends. You and I have mutual friends that are up there in Chicago, and we're sure hoping that they stand up for their rights and do what's right for their fellow man in Chicago, and make sure that everybody is following the law, taking pictures, resisting as much as they can without getting arrested. But we stand with Chicago, And you're going to see a banner on Coffee with Democrats. I'm going to change the banner at the top because we are being invaded by our own government, and you're going to see a banner come up. So, folks, we are having a little bit of difficulty with Brandon. He did go black on my screen. I'm hoping that he'll be able to come back. So, Brandon, if you want to just drop off and reset your connection and jump back on, please do so that we can get you back on and have you on with good coverage. So folks, bear with us just a little bit as we try to work out some of these issues. Another issue that I'm going to go ahead and talk while we're waiting for Brandon to get back on. Another good news story for the state of Oklahoma is Ryan Walters is gone. Finally, he finally gave his resignation last week, and then they did get a new superintendent of public instruction who was brought back on. So I forgot the name of the new superintendent, but everything that I'm hearing about him is very positive. The bellwether for me, and forgive me if I don't use a lot of people, of resources, but my representative, Jacob Rosecrans, is giving some very positive reviews about this new superintendent of public instruction for the state of Oklahoma, and everything that I'm seeing on the news, where they're bringing back the Wall of Fame and reinstating a lot of the good things for the teachers and giving the teachers the proper recognition. I think those are good things. So welcome back to Coffee with Democrats, Brandon. I know we're having a little bit of a connection issue, but thanks for coming back on here. So let's talk about your campaign. And so I've got two questions for you. Why are you running? And we'll go with that one first, and then I'll have a follow-up question here in a little bit.
All right. Well, really, I'm just running to try to return our government back to what it's supposed to be. A government that works for the people. The voice of the people needs to be in our government and needs to be in DC. So as a working class guy, I tell everybody I'm not a politician. I'm just a working class guy like the rest of us that is just tired of the way everything's going and how the corporate greed and the wealthy has took control of our government and now owns it. And I want to try to get back in there where I can return a voice for the working class back to DC and do the stuff that needs to be done to turn our country back around to where my son can live the American dream. It's just been where we don't have the American dream anymore. And, that's unattainable for my son. He can't, right now, it's going to be real hard for him to find a job, a good paying job that's going to allow him to be able to have a house and a family and raise kids and be able to survive and have things that they need to have. So, those are the things that are important that really got me involved, wanted to get around and start doing good for our representation. I feel like we've lost that in our government, that we just don't have true representation anymore. They come around and they do lip service. Josh Burkeen just got done doing what he called town halls, and they weren't town halls at all. He went up and down eastern Oklahoma throughout his constituents, trying to sell everybody on the big, beautiful bill that they passed and how great it was and how misinformed we were and how we were lying about the things within that bill, failing to talk about the issues of healthcare that was costing, and the hospitals, rural hospitals, are going to be closing down. Stillwell has already closed down, and that's within our district. And they didn't have solutions to those things because they don't care. I mean, that's just where it comes down to. Our rural hospitals closed, and it puts more strains on our other hospitals. And in Oklahoma, we have 165 hospitals in the state. 90 of those are rural hospitals, so over half. And so the burden that's going to put on our other hospitals when they close down, and the distance people are going to have to travel if they can get into those hospitals for the care they need, it is going to cause people to lose their lives. So it's those issues that our government doesn't function and doesn't work. I mean, we can look at today and see where we're at. We're in the middle of a shutdown because we can't do the simplest things as put together a budget and fund our government like we're supposed to do yearly, instead of turning around and having to do continual resolutions all the time. And we're having to fight our own the other side, we're having to fight them to get health care for everybody. And the rising cost of healthcare is not going to just affect the people on the ACA. It's going to help, people like us that have jobs and have insurance through their work. It's going to cost them an extreme uptick in their costs for healthcare. I'm already starting to see that as open enrollment starts happening in other places that we represent in our union. We're seeing healthcare costs are jumping, 20, 30% in some cases. So it's stuff that's coming down the pike. And this is the stuff that happens when you don't elect people that are real leaders that have the best interests of their constituents at heart, they're working for corporations, the people that pad their pockets.
You brought up some really good points there, and I have to congratulate you for having those statistics right there on the tip of your tongue, because you know what, Josh Brecheen, he was out at McAllister and some other places, and just like you said, just giving lip service about what he's doing and telling everybody that he's misinformed. My question to him is, how many soybean farmers are going to go out of business this year? Lose their farms because they invested in soybeans because it's a steady income. And then all of a sudden we've got his party with Trump decided they want to give $20 billion of American money to South America. And we made this great, this plan to give them this money. And then they turn around and take their soybeans and have another trade deal with China. So all the soybeans that we used to sell are now rotting in the fields, and our farmers are hurting because of it, because they're only getting 5 cents on the dollar or some something like that. It's a very small amount for soybeans, and they're getting hurt. They're not going to be able to make their mortgage because or their loan payments, their farm loans, because they invested so heavily in soybeans. So Brandon, check your connection. There you go. Came back on. Very good.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but you're exactly right. And that's something I've talked about and try to convey to all our farmers out there in Eastern Oklahoma as we go through this. I really think it's part of the plan. I think that they're, wanting them to go bankrupt, and then the corporations are going to come in and buy up those farms, and it'll be corporate farms, all part of the plan that they got. You got 6th, 7th generation farms out there, family farms, that are looking at foreclosure because, and it goes deeper. The tariff plans that he's put in place, they're feeling the effect of those tariffs. It costs more for the combines and different pieces of equipment they need and everything else that they got to have to run that farm. So now the cost goes up and they can't sell the soybeans because of the tariffs. China's not buying from the U.S. because of the tariff deal, and it's just a fight. And now we sent, like you said, $25 billion to Argentina or wherever for the. Now they're selling their soybeans to where we used to do that. It's just hurting the farmers here. And Trump's, well, we're going to use some of the tariff money and give them some money. Well, that's nice of him to give the money that they're paying in on these higher tariffs, some of that money back to him, but he's doing damage. We've got to stop what's going on.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, this nutcase is completely out of whack, and the harm he's causing all of our, like we talked earlier, from the cities, Chicago and Portland, where their crime is on the way down. They have really done a very good job in the last few years, and all of a sudden, the idea that he wants to create these militarized zones and basically go to war against our own people. To me, it's impeachable. He needs to be removed. And everybody who supports him, like Josh Brecheen, who is supporting him, who goes around bragging that he's a Trump supporter, he needs to be removed too. We've got to get people like yourself who are practical Oklahomans. Now, the other thing that Josh Brecheen's doing that we've got to talk about with our Senator Markwayne Mullin, they're getting rich off of insider trading. It's completely unacceptable. So, I appreciate you doing that. Now, I want you to go in a little bit more detail about why you think people should vote for you. Again, we're having a little bit of technical issue here, so as soon as we get Brandon back on, we'll carry on with that conversation. Well, we're waiting for him to come back on. I need to go ahead and do a little bit
Sound.
of housekeeping. I'd like to be able to bring this up and talk about it. I'm going to bring up his web page, and we're going to focus on this for a little bit. His web page, if you want to go to his website, all you got to do is just go to Brandon, BRANDON for Congress. That's the number 4 Congress.com, and go to his website and take a look at it, because a couple of things that he needs some help with is he needs a place for for volunteers to be able to help him. And he's got a really good website, talks about his statement from Brandon Wade about the government shutdown. He has some real good ideas on how he wants to move forward. But another thing we need to do is we need to try to talk to people about donating, because he cannot do this on his own. His money will not pay for this. In order for him to run successfully for Congress, he's going to have to raise a couple of $1 million, because that's what Josh Brasheen has got in his war chest, and from those corporate donors that he's got in his pocket. So go up here to the corner and click on donate, and then it gives you the information there about how to donate. And again, all you have to do is just put in your credit card information. $5, I think, is very easy, because basically that's a cup of coffee, and this is Coffee with Democrats. And we like to be able to support our candidates by recognizing that for something as simple as a cup of coffee, the price of a cup of coffee goes a long way to help our candidates. So I really appreciate people being able to be able to do what they can to support Brandon. Let me get Brandon back up here on the stage. There you go.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I apologize.
Looks like we're going to have to continue to fight some of this technical issues. But Brandon is in rural Oklahoma, and being in rural Oklahoma, he's going to have slower internet than what I've got in my studio right here. But anyway, we need to get back. So talk to us a little bit why people should vote for you.
Well, like I tell everybody, I'm one of you guys. Like I said, I'm rural Oklahoma. Grew up in Copan, Oklahoma. It's about as far as you can go up north on 75 before you hit the Kansas line. So I understand what we're going through. I'm a working class guy. I understand the struggles. I'm living it just as much as everybody else. We're seeing the struggles that are going on. So if you want a voice, being a union guy, we share those things as well. That
Yeah, we do.
I'm a union guy. So I completely understand. I'm a rep for our local union. I do organizing and stuff. So I understand how to represent people. I understand that to be a representative, you have to be able to listen to people as well. You've got to represent everybody, not just the select few. And that's what I really try to do. Everywhere I go up and down the place, it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian. I don't care what your political party is. I want to hear from you, because I can't represent you if I don't hear what you need and what the issues are that you need to have addressed. And we need to talk about those things, and I need to be open. If I don't know it, I'm going to tell you I don't know about this subject, that I need to research it, and I'll get back with you. But I will try to get back with you and give you the answer that you need, or we can talk about the solutions together. I have plenty of solutions. I seen you had the website up earlier. When you go to that website, you can click on what I hope to be one of my first bills, and that's going to be the American Dream Act. And, that's going to address 4 issues that I think is very important to our country. It's going to be our healthcare, for finally getting some affordable healthcare for all, addressing our Social Security issue and trying to get that where it's took care of. And then the work program, we need to rebuild our working class, to rebuild our country and our economy. We got to build it from the working class up. So to do that, you have to have job programs and things like that. And I think we need something from a pre-K funding school, from pre-K all the way what I call +2, which would be some trade schools, because college is not for everybody, and so
Right.
we need those trade schools. They're important, and they help you give a step ahead to get into that future and get that good paying job, a union job somewhere where you can get good paying wages. And we got to work on that stuff. So those are all, our homeless situation is another part that's in there. It's an expensive bill. I mean, it's $1.17 trillion to operate, to do that. But I went through there, and when you look through it, you'll see that there's things in there to help pay for that bill. We can't write bills that we can't pay for, and we can't be cutting important things like our healthcare and things like that in order to pay for these things. We have to do, it's going to have to come from the corporations and the wealthy, some of those things, and then rein in our budgets, rein in like our military budget, and make sure that the money is being spent and that is being spent wisely and not just wasted. Earmark it, make sure they're accountable for what they're spending, and then start ringing in these tax evasion kind of things where they're putting money offshore accounts, rein in those things. It's all throughout that bill explaining different ways to do that. It's not going to be on the back of the working class. It's going to make the corporations start paying their fair shares again and start taking a little chunk out of that inequality that we have in the wealth. When everybody's doing well, then we're thriving as a nation, and that's what we got to get back to. Quit the divide back and forth between parties and those things, and get back to where we work for what's the best thing for our nation and the people of this country. And that's the same as bringing jobs to Oklahoma. We want good partners to come to Oklahoma. As a union guy, we have no problem with corporations and companies doing well, as long as they're taking care of their employees. They're paying them living wages. They're taking care of them, providing insurance coverage and those kind of things. We need to make sure that we have that, and we have good working relationships with everybody that's our partners.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm looking at this and I really like what I'm seeing, because you not only do you address the problem, but you also give the solution. Folks, if you don't have a representative who addresses the problem and also has a ready established solution for it, to me, it's a pipe dream, and they're lying to you. What we're seeing on Brandon, he talks about the problems, he addresses the 4 problems that he wants to talk about: homelessness, enhancing healthcare, strengthening retirement security, and also supporting the middle class. But he gives the funding formula for how he wants to do that by eliminating corporate subsidies, doing away with and reducing some of the waste within our military. But then he goes into a more greater place for us to be able to continue to grow our government, basically not grow our government, but grow our budget. And that's close the tax loopholes, financial transaction tax, and carbon tax, high income tax policy, which I am totally for those things. And then the wealth tax for those people who are making 2 to 5% on wealth over $25 million, so that, we're going to gain $500 to $1 trillion annually. Instead of adding more money into the deficit, we can use some of this money to actually buy down the deficit. So folks, I'm telling you, this is some good stuff that I'm seeing right here from Brandon. So I'm going to pull us back onto this. Here we go. There we go. Had clicking the wrong buttons there, but anyway, it's really great to see what you're doing. I really applaud what you're doing, Brandon. I mean, this was very well thought out, and you've got a very good plan, and I got to give you a lot of credit. This is some good stuff that we're seeing on your website, and I encourage everybody to go out there. And again, to give another plug, I got to do it one more time, folks. Brandon can't do this on his own. He's going to need a couple of $1 million. And that he's not going to do this off of corporate money. He's going to do that with the help of us. So we've all, throughout the entire state of Oklahoma and throughout the entire United States, of all the people who are watching this show, all we're asking for is maybe $5. If you've got more than that, contribute more. But if you can just give $5 with the equivalent of a cup of coffee, because again, we're Coffee with Democrats, put that money in that donate, and send him some, because every penny is very helpful. We've got some comments. I'm going to go over here and see what we've got we're getting some very positive comments over here, and I want to tell everybody who's coming on. I really appreciate your comments, and thanks for doing that, because it really is very positive to get that feedback to you. Anyway, folks, we're going to wrap this up, but before we wrap it up, I'm going to tell us one more time. I'm going to bring back up this web page because, folks, we really need to do what we can to help him out, and it comes from several things. It comes from your treasures, your time, and I really like for you to be able to dedicate your time to help volunteer. Going out and doing what you can and to help folks is going to be a good thing. So anyway, thanks for coming on Coffee with Democrats. Man, it's been a little while since we've been together.
It has. It's good talking to you, and I'm sorry for the technical difficulties I got on my side. As I said, the feed's not as well as it needs to be, I guess. But yeah, like you said, I've asked you guys to help in any way you can. Any donation is greatly appreciated. I mean, anywhere from $1, $3, those are just as important to me as the $250 or $500 donations. I mean, you guys, anything you can give is greatly appreciated and will be well spent towards actually trying to return your voice to DC and put together solutions to problems. That's what we need. We got to unite Oklahoma and bring everybody back together, stop the fighting, and get back to work and put solutions to problems. That's the key to making things better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, thanks for coming on and spending time with us on Coffee with Democrats. We really appreciate that. Brandon, where's your next? Where's the next place where you're going to go and be able to for people to come and meet you?
A big event coming up is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 18th in Dewey, Oklahoma. Washington County has just got a Stonewall Federation. They're doing a family-friendly event, like a little. You hear me?
Yeah, it's fading in and out there, Brandon.
All right, I apologize again, but it's on the 18th. In Dewey, Oklahoma. Jasmine Thomas is going to be there as well. So you'll have a chance to talk to hopefully one of our next senator and our House of Representatives for CD2 and our state senator. Or for our state. And then other events. But yeah, go to the website. There should be on there as well.
I appreciate that. Well, folks, thanks for coming on to Coffee with Democrats. We've got a good lineup coming up in the next few weeks. Next week, go back here and let me look at my schedule. We've got a real good lineup coming up. Next week, we have got, well, now my computer's crashed. So I'm not going to tell you that. I've got Cleveland County. I've got two folks for Cleveland County, McLean County. We've got representative out of southern Oklahoma City that's going to be coming on. And then we've got the state chair for Florida, Nikki Freed, that's going to be coming on next month. And we're trying to work real hard to get a few more people, locals that are running statewide races on here to fill it in between now and Christmas so that we have a full slate. Anyhow, folks, thanks for coming on Coffee with Democrats. Until next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Look forward to seeing you then. Until then, please be safe. This segment of Coffee with Democrats is brought to you by Steve Holcomb, Attorney at Law. With family ties to Oklahoma and the legal field that goes back as far as the early 1900s, Steve Holcomb is a well-known and respected attorney at law in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. You can trust Steve Holcomb, Attorney at Law, with your legal needs. For generations encompassing over 100 years, the Holcomb family name has practiced law and served the cattlemen of Oklahoma. From Marion Holcomb, Steve's great-grandfather, who became a judge among the lands of the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes in southwest Oklahoma in the early 1900s, who then moved to Pawhuska to practice law, to his grandfather, Thad Holcomb Sr., and his father, Lee Holcomb, who both served as presidents of the Osage County Cattlemen's Association. The Holcomb name has been and still is the trusted name for Oklahomans. As an enthusiastic supporter of Coffee with Democrats, who promotes the Oklahoma standard of service, honor, and kindness, Steve Holcomb is the attorney we recommend going to when you have general practice legal needs. Call 918-287-8762. That's 918-287-8762 to schedule a consultation. Initial consultations may be provided free of charge, or go to holcomb.legal for more information.